Okay, so let's start the practice. I'm gonna create an index.html file where we will use a live template. Probably it is a live template, I don't know, but when I type exclamation mark and then press tab, it creates an empty HTML5 page structure. And which looks like this. And let's replace the initial title with something like we're trying to do some shit here. And now it is crystal clear that we need to add some HTML elements in the body to have some content displayed. So let's start with a button. I'm going to use an Emmet template, which is just typing the elements tag name that we want to create, and then I can press tab and the PHP Storm creates a full button for me. And here, let's type in something like click me. Okay. Then we will open this page in the browser. For that, I'm going to drag it into Chrome, and it's blocked. I'm not sure what it is. There you go. There it is, the button. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this created this click me button on our page, which we can click, and it has this simple animation or visual appearance, and it responds when I click on this button. It responds with this change of its appearance, with this slight change of its appearance. Okay. And now that we have absolute clarity that this button is displayed on the page, let's add some JavaScript code to I don't know for what, but let's add some JavaScript code. And for that, I will use a script HTML element. I will use a new HTML element called script. And I wonder, inside this element, we can put our JavaScript code, just like inside the style, a style HTML element, we can put our CSS code, and inside the script, in a similar way, inside our script, a script HTML element, we can put JavaScript code. Let me remove this. And let's write our first JavaScript code, and then we'll reload our page to have absolute clarity on this topic about whether it works or not. And I will get into that script element a little later. And I will get into that a little later. For now, let's write our first line of JavaScript code, which will be, let's type in alert, and then opening, and then I'm gonna type an opening parenthesis and the ID or the Visual Studio Code, added the close is it open parenthesis close parenthesis, the open parenthesis, which looked at the close parenthesis, so it is close parenthesis. Okay, so I'm gonna type open parenthesis, and the IDE added the close parenthesis for us, and in between these parentheses, let's type single quote, and the IDE adds another single quote for us. And so inside these single quotes, okay, so a pair of double quotes like this. And inside these quotes, let's write, there you go, I will not save this file because PHP Storm, just like any JetBrains IDE, will save it for me, for us, when I switch over to another application. So this code editor tab loses focus. So when it loses focus, the VS Code will save the file. And now I'm going to reload the page, and there you go. The browser displays this little pop-up window where with the text, there you go, which we just typed inside this, which we just typed in between these quotes inside the alert instruction between these double quotes. And there is also this OK button, which we can click. And after that, our page loads. Now I'm going to ask you to pause this video and write this instruction, but instead of this text, replace it with well done. And then reload the page and see what happens. So pause the video and do that. And I'm gonna wait. Okay, so when you did this, you probably saw well done. Okay. Next, I'll ask you to change this text a couple more times. Two more times. First one will be I'm doing, this is my first code. This is my first code and it's working. And the next one, instead of this text, you can remove it and type in your own text. Anything you want. Anything you want. Anything you can think of, you can type in between these quotes. Okay, so let's right here, well done. So this is our first JavaScript code. It is our first JavaScript instruction. And what it does, it displays a small window with the text we want, with any text we want. And I wonder what happens if I type in a lot of text here. So just like a very long line of text like this. Let's see how this will look in the browser. Okay, so a lot of well done here. Let's use even more text and see what happens then. Okay, so there is actually there is actually a limit to how much text we can see until the pop-up becomes scrollable. And at some point, it truncates the remaining text and replaces it with these just three dots. Okay. I'm gonna undo. Now I'm gonna undo all the copying stuff that we did. So at this point, I would probably want to explain this. Do I? So our student, they saw their first JavaScript code, and I'm gonna probably need to semicolon. I'll probably need to explain it. So this is the text we want to so we can tell. So this is a little instruction that we can give to, this is a little JavaScript instruction that we can give to our browser. We can use some text in it. We put it between these double quotes and also between parentheses. And this instruction has a name. It is alert. And the browser knows that, okay, now we need to follow this closely, because if, for example, I forget to put, and these double quotes are mandatory, and these parentheses, both open and closing parentheses, they are mandatory as well. Because notice then that if I forget to put, for example, a closed parenthesis here, like this, and when I reload our page, nothing happens. And this is a place where I'm not sure. I'll probably need to. So our code stops working. So we need to make sure that we follow this agreement. And there is this agreement that if we want to use this alert instruction, we need to write alert. and then put an open parenthesis, then the text we want to display between the double quotes, and then the close parenthesis. We can change the text, we can change like this part, so this part we can change within these parentheses, inside these parentheses, in between these parentheses. Between these parentheses we can put different things, but this shape, so alert, open, close parenthesis, this must be like this. Otherwise, this will not work. So if I, for example, forget to put a close parenthesis and then reload our page, there is no pop-up window. And this is because the browser does not understand what I want here. The browser thinks that there is something wrong here, and so it just does nothing. So it doesn't understand this code because there is a mistake here. We need to have we need to follow certain rules. We need to follow certain rules for this code to work. So please, for this to work, you need to do this exactly as I have it here. Okay, now let's do something. What we can do? Can we do now? Now we can what? We can proceed to defining a variable like let message, and we can put it like here. So I can type let space message equals space. Well, actually we can write message equals well done, and then close parenthesis, and then a semicolon, and then alert, and then this stuff as well. So there are several approaches. You can put a semicolon here, you can omit a semicolon here. It's not important. I can also mention this optional syntax stuff here, but do I need to? So it's optional. We can place it there, we can omit it there. It is not important. So well done. We can write it like this and then replace it with here. We can also write here 2 + 2 and then reload. It is 4. Okay. We can say 2 + 2 multiplied by 2, and this will be 6. These spaces here, they are not required, so we can remove them if you want. I like them here because it is now the code. It makes our code. I like them here because it makes our code easier to read, and which is an important thing to make sure to take care of your code readability. Okay, so we can introduce a variable. So let message well done. But I think So this JavaScript instruction displays the pop-up window, and it's well done. We need to write it like this. So what changes? Okay, what changes? So let's say we want to display 2. We want to display the second alert after it. We need to put it, if we write it like this, alert, hey. So if we want to put it on the same line, which is not a good idea. So let's write another, let's display, so let's say we want to display one alert, which is well done. And then after this one, we want to display another one, which says really. So now when I reload our page, first we'll see the well done pop up, and then when I press OK, we will see another pop-up window that says really. So notice that here, what we changed is only the message inside parentheses between these, inside these quotes, inside the parentheses. Okay, let's say 2 plus 2. That actually might be a great thing to do. So to display, we can display here a message, or we can say add 2 numbers. So we can do 2 plus 2, and when we reload our page, it's well done. And then 4. Okay. So here, notice that. I'm not sure whether this thing works. It is. Where's 20? Okay. So let's see. These 2 alerts, let's see what they have in common and what they have different. So both of these alerts have this alert name, and then open parentheses, close parentheses. The same is here, alert, open and close parentheses. What's different is that the stuff we put inside the parentheses. So for example, okay, I can say like 2 plus 2. So notice that here it's some text, which this text in programming called a string. So this thing inside these, in between these quotes is called a string. And then here we're doing some math. So we're adding 2 and 2. So if we want to display some stuff using our JavaScript, we can use this alert thing, and then inside parentheses we can put something. Like it can be just a number or a string, or it can be whatever you want, like anything in the world, which is not true, but okay. So I can show them that. And let's see. I'm curious about the prompt thing. So what can we do here? let message, let's write it this way, prompt. What's your name? What's your name? And then we can type in your name is message. And let's try this one. What's your name? My name is Dima, and your name is Dima. Great. We can actually do it like this. And this will be an interesting thing. What's your name? Dima. And it will display Dima. Okay. So this is what I can do. Next, I can... Okay, now... So here we're displaying some stuff, but we can also take some input using JavaScript. Take in or receive some input. Prompt input, probably. We can prompt some input. I will get into that a little later. I will get into that a little later. I am wondering, okay. I will get into that a little later. We could take advantage of that. Also, in JavaScript, we can ask our users for some information, which can be to type in something. In JavaScript, we can ask our users. To type in something. So for that, what we can do is we can write, let's remove all this, and we can write prompt, just like with, okay, we had a couple of alerts. It was 2 + 2. Okay. So we can ask for that we can write prompt, and then parentheses, and then inside parentheses we can type in okay, it was well done. Inside these parentheses we can, let's type what's your name. So we wrote prompt and then what's your name, and when we reload our page, another pop-up showed up, and it displays here what we wrote, what's your name, and also it's a little different. Now we have this little input where we can type in stuff. We can type in some text. And also there is this cancel button and also OK. So I'm going to type in here, okay. I'm going to type in here Dima, and then I'll press OK. And after that, I'm going to see well done and OK. Okay, so let me for a second remove these two. Okay, and let me for a second remove these two. This is And just like in, let's for a second disable these two, and just like in HTML and in CSS, this disables this line of code, and this becomes a JavaScript comment. So, okay, I think it may be too much, too fast, too soon. So this, I can do this, type in these two things and then prompt. So in JavaScript, so here we're using another instruction that displays this pop-up window where we can type in something, our name, for example, or some numbers, and that's it. So we can type in some text. It's Dima. I'm gonna press OK. The window disappears. Will disappear, and the page was loaded. But where did it go? No, this question. But it's not useful to just take some information and from our user ask for some information, ask our user to type in something and then not use it. So this just displays that pop-up window, but we need to store whatever our user will type. So to store information from this, we need to place the following before this prompt instruction. So let's put our cursor right before the prompt and then type let message and then space equals space. So now, okay, so this is new here. And so here we're saying that whatever our user will type inside the prompt pop-up window, we will store here. I am afraid that this will be a little complicated for them because it's a message, and what are we like? What's this? I'm not sure that I'm grasping this concept, but we're already like, okay, I don't fully understand what this does, and then we're introducing an assignment operator and then message and then let. There's too much of unknown stuff here that I need to learn, and I'm not comfortable with that actually. So I'm afraid that this is too much. I can do something different. So I can do, okay, now what we can also do is we can calculate this. Let's write the following. Let answer equals 2 plus 2. And then we can remove this and put here our answer. So what this does is we calculate here 2 plus 2, and the result we're putting the result of this inside this answer. Okay. Now I think it'll be better if I write alert Dima. So well done, Dima. Okay, they'll put their name. And let's like type in that first name. Dima. So my first name is Dima, and now we can write here first name. This thing is a variable, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make really sense to introduce a variable. So an alert is an instruction. Okay, now let's improve our code a little bit. Let's write message. And we'll place it here. And then we'll use it here, message. Is this really necessary? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it is not. But what we can do here is we can display some, let's say, our movie title, and it can be Avengers. And now we can display it here. So movie title, Avengers. Movie title, let's place it here, and then we'll place it here. Ooh, this is actually problematic. How do I introduce concepts? Oh, this is interesting. This is a challenge. How do I introduce a variable, for example? I know what this is, but but you do not know what this is. You do not know. And this might be confusing if you don't know what this is. So I can write here, for example, not like this. I want to movie title, and it's Avengers, right? I'm curious. I didn't know that this actually is possible in JavaScript. What's this? No context visual. Probably it adds document movie title is on window. Okay, but this is weird. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna stop recording this, and after this is the first time that I recorded it. Okay.